And we're a little bit, minute or two past, but not too bad for a 4:30 start time. 4:30 start times are optimistic, always optimistic. But I didn't want to bump this to 5 because I've got some other stuff I have to do. And so I was optimistic and I scheduled it for 4:30. So let me get in on the iPad here so that we can keep an eye on the all-important chat. The chat is very important because, after all, this is an interactive live show, which is brought to you by Cowgirls Live. Cowgirls Live, Monday nights at 10 p.m. And I got some news on Steve from the Little Treasury. Got some cool news from him that I'll also share. Okay, we've got some of the wrench gang in the house, I see. And somebody said, great show yesterday. And anytime we're talking about another subject matter like the shoes today, we'll always talk about watches too. I mean, you guys always like to talk about watches, and high-end shoes go along with high-end watches. So it all goes hand in hand, folks. Hand in hand. The following live stream is not a socialist-friendly environment. Oh, well. We're in motion. We're making things happen. Folks are in motion here. So first of all, we got to cut to the side shot of the Grand Seiko Stunner, 18-karat gold Stunner. And by the way, Tim showed a watch, and maybe we'll talk about it later, one of his recent videos, a dress watch in gold with a similar case shape and design to this one. That is a stunner. Maybe we'll talk about that. You guys may have seen them. I'm wearing shoes made in Northampton, England. There you go. Got some. Hey, let's start out with some Englander shoes here. Let me see here if I got that. Got a couple of props here. I'm going to have to get up and get a few others. These were made by Churches, and this was back in the day before Prada bought them. Some people say their quality has gone downhill. This, I believe, is what they call ranch oxhide. I like the grain to this. I just like the look of this. A little bit less formal and very rugged. Very rugged. These are the original soles, and they haven't been used a ton on like pavement, on like concrete or anything like that, so they've held up really well. Extremely well made. We're going to talk about well-made shoes, and this is their custom line. Well-made shoes that are not ridiculously priced for what you get. There are some shoes, like you can buy Gucci's, and you pay a lot of money for that name. You get a pretty good loafer, and I've had them. I sold my last pair not too long ago on eBay. I just wasn't wearing them. But I think they're overpriced for what you get. And there are a lot of brands that are, I think, overpriced for what you get. We're going to talk about some high value, high quality, ultra high quality shoes that are going to be exceptionally comfortable on your feet. And we're going to talk about some specialty shoes too that a lot of people may or may not be aware of. So what we do on this channel is we talk about things that are a little bit obscure sometimes. And Grand Seiko Spring Drive is pretty obscure. And let me know in the chat if you think I should turn the background lights on. Actually, I'm not going to wait for your opinion on that. I'm just going to turn them on. Let me see here. And just like when we talk about the watches, this is going to be a focus on shoes that you actually wear and are actually really good on the feet and comfortable, and that you can literally walk miles and miles in. So we're going to talk about some really actually useful who do you get to do your cobbler work? I don't get that much work done because I have so many shoes in rotation that I don't often wear them out. I did have some soles replaced, and I'll bring in a pair that had the soles replaced on them. we do have a local cobbler here in Frederick that does pretty good work, but it's not something that I often have to have done because I have a large rotation of shoes. And now let's talking about heavy-duty shoes that last a long time. What is the spring drive of footwear? Hey, this could be it. Let's grab this pair. These are the beast, the beast of footwear. These are Limmer, L-I-M-M-E-R. I've showed these before on the channel. These were custom made to fit my feet. They have two lines. They used to have just the custom, and then the backlog got so long, the waiting list, that they had some made for them that are almost as high quality as the customs that you can buy just off the rack, pre-made. And I think they still do that. Peter Limmer. So it's Limmer and Sons, I think is the name of the company. Just Google it. I've got a nice video about these shoes. But these are extremely rugged. And there are 6 rows of stitching on this seam here that you can see. That's the only seam on the uppers. There is no seam here in the back. And this is very thick, very heavy leather. This sole has, looks like 3 or 4 layers of leather. And then this super heavy-duty Vibram sole. These are bulletproof puppies, and they take a long time to break in. A month to break in if you wear them a little bit the first day, a little bit longer the second day, and you just slowly but surely break them in. It's going to take you at least a month to get these to where you can walk any distance at all in them. So that's the only downside to these, long break-in period. But once you break them in, they're insanely comfortable for as heavy a boot as they are. And talk about support when you're hiking for your ankles and for your feet. You step on a real sharp rock and stuff, you don't feel anything with this, right? So that's in my opinion, the ultimate hiking, mountain climbing boot. Limmer. You're going to have to wait a long time for them. So send them your measurements, send them some money, and just wait a couple years. Okay. So that's those, L-I-M-M-E-R, Limmer. Yeah, they're cool to you can ride a motorcycle with them. Yeah, they're super cool boots. Don't quote me, but I think they're around $600. They might be more now. Custom made, which is not terrible for a custom made boot. Again, everything I'm showing you here has high value as far as what you're getting for the money. Now, I've shown these shoes before, and I use these as an example, not because of the color or the design or whatever, but because of some of the features of these shoes. Now, these I bought new old stock on eBay. These are Timberlands. You can see the logo inside there, I think. And made in USA. Timberland back in the day, I think they made them in New Hampshire or something, but they were really high quality back in the day, in the beginning of that company. And here are some telltale signs of the quality. These eyelets are all solid brass. They're not just brass plated or something or painted, which a lot of the cheaper shoes are. These are actual solid brass eyelets. You can see here, Moccasin Construction, what you have is you have the leather going completely underneath the foot and wrapping up around, and that's why you have this hand stitching around here at the mock toe, they call it, because the leather is literally coming up underneath your foot, and then they sew this top part on. Well, this has an additional layer of leather that goes underneath your foot and comes up, and you can see it stitched along here. That's another telltale sign of a very high quality moccasin construction. Then we've got this layer of leather here, and then we've got the sole onto that. And in some cases you'll see they'll be stitched on, in some cases they'll just be glued on. But again, that's a sign of very high quality moccasin construction, and you're going to find that those shoes are very comfortable on the foot. And so I had friends back in the day that all they wore was boat shoes. I mean, with jeans, with khakis, with a suit, with whatever. That's all they would wear is a typical boat shoe like that. And of course, Sperry makes them. Sperry used to make them in these United States of America. I don't think they do anymore. They did do a Made in Maine collection re-release that they stopped doing a couple years ago. You can find some of those new old stock if you search Made in Maine collection. There are still some kicking around new old stock. So there's that. Okay. I'm going to, let's see here. What's the watch you're wearing today? I'm wearing the Grand Seiko Spring Drive Titanium Dive Watch. SBGA 231. SBGA 231. And then on the bench, we've got the Gold Stunner Grand Seiko 18 karat gold dress watch. I have videos of both of these here on my channel. I'm going to go grab a couple more pairs of shoes that I'm going to show you. A couple of pairs of Chukka boots. Okay, let's get some really high-end Chukka boots. Let's get that. I'll be right back. Okay. Whoops. Just bumped the whole table. Just bumped everything. Everything flashed there. All right. Now we're going to talk some cowboy boots. Yeah, we could show some cowboy boots, some high-end Lucchese. I got to the point where the only thing that fit me well were custom-made Lucchese. So I have two pairs of Lucchese boots. I've sold all my others. They just didn't fit well. If the shoes don't fit well and aren't comfortable, I don't put up with it. Okay, here we go. Let's do some high-end Chukka boots. Let's start with, we mentioned Made in Maine collection. This is a perfect example. This was part of the Made in Maine collection by Sperry, and you can't really see inside there, but it says Made in Maine collection in there. I've got a separate video review on pretty much all of these shoes that you're seeing here. So if you just search shoes or boots or whatever on my channel or the keyword Maine, you'll find a bunch of the ones that are made in Maine. So again, these are Sperry, and I like this sole on these. It's a very cushy sole, grippy but very cushy. This is not very heavyweight either. This is a very lightweight shoe for what it is. And again, no break-in period on any of these moccasin style shoes. That's the beauty of the moccasin style shoes, is as long as you get them long enough. If they're too short, they're not going to work. But as long as they're long enough, they have enough give on the sides to kind of conform to your foot, and the leather comes up underneath your foot and wraps around it, and it's just a very comfortable shoe. I almost always am wearing moccasin style shoes now. Almost always, just because they're so comfortable. So that's that shoe. Here's one by Oak Street Bootmakers, and I don't know if Rancourt Company makes these for them or who makes these, but they're actually made in the U.S. And these are buffalo leather, which is kind of unique, and they've got kind of a wild sole on them. I haven't worn these hardly at all. These I also bought on eBay, new old stock. Brand new in the box, 11D. I wear 11D, and these are super comfortable as well. You notice they have the second layer of leather coming up and stitched around here. You're noticing some of those key elements of construction on these moccasin style shoes. Another Chukka boot. Now this is probably, if the house was on fire, this would be the one that I would grab and go out with. This is a Russell Moccasin Company out of, I believe, Berlin, Wisconsin. And these are only made to order to fit your feet. That's the only way they sell them. And this is a solid brass eyelets here. Okay, it has the tongue here is a bellows style tongue, so it's got leather all the way up to here, sewn so that stones and all don't get inside, right? This one I have in some of my shoes. I run these ECCO leather insoles. Okay, if the shoe fits like a little bit loose, this helps with that. This kind of snugs it up and gives you a little extra padding. And I like the leather ones, and they breathe nicely. But these shoes are exceptionally well made and ridiculously comfortable. They are heavier, and they are heavier duty than the other Chukkas that I just showed you, but they're not insanely heavy. They're not anywhere near as heavy as those Limmer boots I showed you. They've got nice soles, and you can pick different style soles. They've got several different soles you can pick when you order them. You can also get different colors. Like you could get all black if you wanted or whatever. So this was actually designed by a gentleman, a traveler, that had these specially designed, and now they're a permanent fixture at Russell Moccasin Company. So this is specifically designed for people that do a lot of traveling. So just insanely comfortable. It helps that they're made to order to fit your feet, but the fact that they're the moccasin style construction means zero break-in time. As soon as you put them on your foot, they're just super, super comfortable. So those are those. Let me pull up their website and show you these on the website. If I can find them. That's what live TV is all about. Russell Moccasin. Let me see here. Okay, I'll cut to the computer so you can see this. So if I go here to Footwear, best sellers, I believe they're under that. Yeah, here they are. Art Carver Traveling Sportsman. So, and they have a little thing you click here, and it gives you the instructions on measuring your feet and all that. And so they're $508, which I think for a custom-made boot of this quality is very good. And again, you can select the color, and you can select the sole style that you want. And trust me when I tell you, these shoes are incredibly comfortable and incredibly versatile for traveling and things like that. I mean, it's not a dress boot, right? But insanely well made. Okay, so Harrison Ford, by the way, is one of their customers too. So he wore Alden shoes in the Indiana Jones movie, but he had since discovered these Russell moccasins, and he has these custom made for him, and that's what he wears a lot of the time. So now here we go. This was also part of the Made in Maine collection. You see I have one of the Echo insoles in this one, and this is called the Ranger Mock. And Sperry still makes this model outsourced, right? But if you're lucky, you can find a new old stock pair that were made in Maine, and that's what this is. These I also bought new old stock off of eBay, 11D. They were new in the box, and I was pleased to get them. So I've only worn them a few times. Let's see what else. I think that's that for there. Let me see if we got any questions here. Let's get caught up on what's going on here. Those look very nice. Those meaning which ones? I'm going to wear Chukka boots to the watch collecting event tonight. If they didn't fit well, I wouldn't. If I would Chukka them in the trash. Yeah, I hear you. Nice watch. Look at the alligator soles on those shoes. Must be like walking on air. Okay. You seriously need to try out some Samuel Hubbard. Let's check them out. Samuel Hubbard. I'll do boots. Well, I mean, just looking real quick at the price range, I would say they're probably made overseas, so they would be a no-go for me. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, I'm going to guess those are made overseas. That would be a pass. I'd have to pass on those, just like I would pass on Tudors. Like the first pair of boots that you showed us, they look great. Yeah, probably the Limers. Yeah, they're insane. Craig, put on the Indiana Jones hat. For Craig, okay. Yeah, we'll get a hat. Type 1 if Craig should put the Indiana Jones hat. I'll tell you what I'll do, Dur. I'll put on a safari hat that was sold at the original Banana Republic when it was a couple operating out of a place in San Francisco when they sold actually good stuff. I've got one of their safari hats. I'll go put that on. Let's see here. Okay, can anyone speak to the comparison between Allen Edmonds shoes and Alden? I would give Alden the nod there. Absolutely, I would give Alden the nod. But like that's a perfect example. Like their indie boot, right? I forget the model number, but it's pricier than the Russell moccasins that I just showed you, and I would much rather have the Russells. Russell Moccasin Company, they don't do any advertising. They're basically word of mouth. They're just a bunch of people working up there in Berlin, Wisconsin, just making great moccasin-style boots and shoes. And when you buy shoes from them, you're not paying for the name. You're just paying for those artisans building those things. Alden, and probably half of the price is you're paying for the name. So I'm all for high-value stuff. All right, let me take a couple of these other shoes back. I'll get a hat, and I'll get something else. Okay. All right. Okay. That's rabbit felt. There you go. So, all right. Now, got a couple others. First, I want to show you what kind of started my journey into moccasin style construction shoes. Before I got this pair of Timberlands, I did have boat shoes, just regular like Sperry boat shoes that I would wear a lot of the times, but not all the time. But, you know, obviously when you're at the beach or, you know, on the boats or whatever, we wore the boat shoes. And some of my friends wore them all the time, you know, with jeans and everything, right? Actually, most of my friends wore khakis. They didn't wear jeans, but anyway. So I was at a Timberland dealer, and these were generally sold at higher end, like outfitter stores and things like that. This is back in the day when Timberland was actually a pretty high quality shoe or boot. And these were on sale there. These were Norwegian Kempf leather. This was 1978 that I bought these. And they were fully leather lined, very well made, of course made in these United States of America. And I put them on and they were just super comfortable. And they were designed also to be waterproof. And they were $150 in 1978. Okay, so it was a lot of money. These have been resold a couple of times. These have a Vibram sole on them. The sole that came on them was actually a little nicer than this sole. When I had them redone, they didn't have quite the exact same sole. But this has a layer of leather here, and then the sole is glued onto that leather, right? Again, moccasin style construction, extremely, extremely comfortable shoe. They would squeak, well, you can kind of hear it. They would like squeak a little bit when you walked because of the layers of leather and the way they were made and all. But this was like my first moccasin style shoe that I literally wore a lot when I was appraising cars and stuff like that, and in a lot of rugged situations. This leather holds up very well. And these literally are decades old. And I don't wear them that much anymore. I should start wearing them sometimes. Because they're still very comfortable. But yeah, these really got me into it. And I'll tell you, once you start getting the moccasin style construction shoes, I'm telling you, there's nothing like them. Now these, you all asked about Allen Edmonds. These are Allen Edmonds. I believe they were called Banger, as in Bangor, Maine collection. And these I have the Echo insoles in. And let's see if it says here. No, Key Largo. This is the Key Largo edition. And I think they have another one that's Banger. And these are hard to find, but not terribly hard to find. You can see it's all leather lined. Again, this is made in USA. I think right now, I think they're outsourcing them. Some Allen Edmonds shoes are still made in the USA, but I don't think they have boat shoes like this that are made in the USA. So, so yeah, if you can find these kinds of things in mint condition on eBay or new in the box, do not pass go. Snatch them up because they're super comfortable to walk in. I walk about 8 miles a day on average, and I'm always wearing moccasin style shoes like that. I used to wear New Balance shoes, and these are more comfortable than the New Balances for walking. So there's that. Let's see here. The word prima donna comes to mind. I don't understand what he means by prima donna, and what in the context of what. The gold stunner, okay. I love my Saint Laurent shoes and boots. Comfy, fashionable, super high quality, made in Italy. Well, there you go. Like that hat. Craig, what's your opinion on Rockport boots? I think most of them are made overseas now. I don't know if years ago some of them were made here, but no, I don't think it's a high-end brand. I think you can do a lot better, Thomas. Yeah. What are your general thoughts on investing in marijuana stocks with it becoming legal in more places? I don't do it because I'm not that knowledgeable about their stocks. The only individual stock I own right now is Apple stock. Most of my stocks I'm in mutual funds. So yeah, I wouldn't do that because I just don't know that much about it. In my honest opinion, other fine brands include Gravati and Santoni. So again, I mean, if you're talking about moccasin style construction shoes, which is a large part of what I talked about here, these American manufacturers that I mentioned are probably your best bet. So, and again, if you haven't experienced high-end moccasin-style construction shoes, I encourage you to try it. And here's the downside, and they say this right on the Russell Moccasin website, is once you try like a pair of Russells, for example, if you have a pair of those made, you won't even want to wear any of your other shoes. You'll be like, you know, forget that. So it's that amazing, the difference. Like, for example, even my churches, these here, okay? They're comfortable for a dress shoe, but they're not moccasin-style construction. They're not anywhere near as comfortable to wear as any of those moccasin-style shoes that I showed you. Now, obviously, with a suit, this is going to look much more appropriate, right? But for everyday wear and comfort, you know, this shoe is just going to be killer. It's just going to be killer. Just super, 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 did I say super comfortable. So, there's that. Would you count Quoddy? Yes, absolutely Quoddy. Yes, yes. They are, actually have a pair in the other room. They are very well made. They're a little bit pricier than some of the other brands, but and depending on the style you get, some of them are not that attractive, but they make some really nice ones. Absolutely. And I put a link in the video description for this video to a whole write-up I have about all the made in USA different options. And there's information there on Quoddy. So absolutely. Yeah. All right, well, I think we've covered this subject matter. We've only got about 21 live viewers, so obviously it's not a subject matter that very many people care about. But I just thought that it would be interesting to talk about it because there aren't a lot of people that talk about this moccasin-style construction and the advantages of it. Even in the shoe community, there aren't that many people that talk about it. And I'm just pleased that I literally stumbled upon it and have been wearing basically moccasin-style construction shoes for many, many, many years. And like I say, there was a time frame there where I was wearing the New Balance running shoes basically for walking most of the time, but they smell more and they aren't as comfortable as these high-end moccasin style shoes, even for extensive walking. It's just the way it is. No one ever regretted buying quality. Well, there's quality and then there's quality. So, I mean, again, there's some shoe brands that I think are overpriced for what you get. And there are some shoes that that I just wouldn't want to wear. So it's very similar to the watch thing, where I think you have to be very discriminating and you have to really choose right and get something that that is going to feel great on your feet. I mean, your feet are your foundation, right? Especially if you're in motion, if you're out making things happen. Now, if you're just sitting around at the desk at home or sitting in the watching TV in the TV room all the time, you don't need any shoes. Just be in your stocking feet. But if you're out making things happen, if you're in motion, like the Bitcoin Meister is in motion, then a good pair of shoes are essential. I think we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? Bitcoin bumped up against $4,000 and it doesn't want to get through it. I think it's going to take another dip down. And I'm hoping I'm going to be able to snatch some. Hoping I'm going to be able to snatch. Oh, I did say I was going to share some news about Steve. So, Steve got a Video Pro streaming box, which is the box I'm using right now for streaming this. Video Pro, VIDIU Pro. And Steve got one. And so he's trying to get it set up so that he can start doing some live streaming. So stay tuned. Hopefully he's going to get everything set up and be doing some live streams pretty soon on this channel. People always notice your shoes. Yeah, I think Vegas, I think it's a very good point. I think your shoes, your belt, and if you're wearing like high-end khakis, like Bill's khakis, and you're wearing a nice shirt and a nice watch, I think you got it covered. I think people can sense also that, like, for example, if they saw these Russells, they don't really know what they are, okay? They don't know. But there's something about the leather, there's something about the stitching, there's something about everything about them. And you can even tell, like, where this stitching goes, or this leather goes around here, that it's not like completely, like, totally even everywhere. You can pretty much tell they're like handmade also. But in any event, people can sense quality when they see it, right? And it helps. It helps with the overall presentation, and it helps with them feeling comfortable with doing business with you and giving you money, which is what we want to have happen. We want them all to give you money. So, all right, well, we're going to wrap it up. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions at all before we wrap it. But this was a short and sweet broadcast, but hopefully it was helpful to some people. And again, I've got some links in the video description if people want more information. And they can kind of go there. I wonder if moccasin style construction is very popular in other parts. Of course, Gucci's. I think they're moccasin style construction. They're Gucci loafers. I believe they are. I think mine were. But I don't know how big of a thing it is overseas either. All right. Well, we are going to wrap. There's not much action going on at this point. So Vegas says, thanks for your time. I always learn stuff watching. Okay, cool. Very cool. It's always good for people to, pick up information. This is how I get my information, by watching YouTube. I watch other YouTubers and get information. So, and as somebody said sometime, at some point, knowledge is power. Do we need to subscribe to Steve's channel? No, he'll be streaming here, I believe, on this channel. Fry makes some high-quality mock toe boots. Well, there you go. I'm not sure if they're made in the U.S. anymore, but anyway. Okay, how many pairs of shoes, boots do you have? Way too many, Jarvis. I probably have probably 18 or 20 that are in current rotation. And then I have about 6 pairs of various made in Maine collection shoes that are new in the box still, that I bought new old stock when they stopped doing the made in Maine collection a couple years ago. I bought them just so I would have them, because they're no longer going to be making them in the U.S. So, and the ones that are made overseas, I've compared them. They're not anywhere near as good a quality. They just aren't. So I bought some just to have them. But yeah, I have at least 20 pairs that are in rotation right now. And I'm not counting like my cowboy boots and the Limmer boots and stuff. I wouldn't really call them in rotation. Those are specialty shoes. But of shoes that I actually wear on a daily basis, I rotate about 20 pairs. So that means I'm only going to wear the shoe maybe once a month or so. And so that's why I pretty much will never wear out the soles, because I have such a broad rotation. I won't have to worry about having them resoled. So that's the deal there. All right, well, everybody, thanks for watching, and maybe we'll talk about something next time. We had a snow day here today, by the way. It was snowing, and that's why I had a cancellation on my video shoot, and that's why I did this stream. I wasn't planning on doing a stream today, but we had a cancellation on the video shoot, and so hence I decided to do this live stream. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and stay tuned. Something exciting coming from Steve sometime soon, I hope.